Now for a third example, we're going to do the steps the exact same way. So parallelogram is given. We must prove now that both sides are congruent. Second step, again, using your ruler, find the lengths of the first pair of opposite sides. So we're going to do the left and the right again. Okay, so it came out to, let's try again. So we got 2.5 inches. Now let's do the right side again. Again, also 2.5 inches. Okay, so this, again, was step 2. Now step 3. Using a ruler, find the lengths of the second pair of opposite sides. So let's start with our top side. Okay, so that's going to come out to 3.5 inches. Let's measure our bottom side. Okay, that also came out to 3.5 inches. And label step 3. Okay, so now step 4 again, one more time. If opposite sides and both pairs are equal, then state they are congruent. So, I'm going to put step 4. Let's look at our sides again. Our first pair, we got 2.5 and 2.5. So that first pair is equal. Now look at the second pair again. We got 3.5 for the top and 3.5 for the bottom. So this shows that our second pair are also equal. So, since both pairs are equal, this means that they are congruent. And as we remember from our vocabulary words, that congruent is having the same shape and size. Okay. So, those were our steps, 1 through 4, and then we did our 3 examples, and we proved that all 3 of our parallelograms are congruent. So when we look back at our vocabulary word, parallelogram is a 4-sided flat shape made up of 2 pairs of straight lines that are equal in length. So the definition for parallelogram is basically telling us that a parallelogram is congruent, but we need to also prove it. So the way we proved it today is by using a ruler to measure all the sides, to measure the 2 pairs of opposite sides, and we were able to prove that they were congruent. So does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, no questions, and that means I'm assuming that you understand it. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some practice problems. So I'm going to hand out a sheet to you, and it's going to look like this. This is our worksheet. So we're going to do 3 practice problems. The 3 practice problems we're going to do are going to be number 1, number 4, and number 7. Now on the handouts I'm going to give to you that look like this, I already circled the practice problems, so you'll know to do 1, 4, and 7. So you're going to do these on your own, and you can work with a partner or with the group around you. You can discuss your answers, and then after a few minutes, we're going to come back and work on those practice problems together. And then the rest of the numbers on the worksheet will be done for homework. So I'm going to hand those in now and we can get started on our practice problems. Okay, class, all eyes back up here. So I gave y'all time to do your practice problems, and then I had 3 volunteers come up and show us their work. So all 3 of the students that came up got all the answers correct. So now we're going to go over them one more time, so that way we can go through the steps again and look at our practice problems. So we did our practice problems, and as you can see, we went through all the steps and we labeled them. Step 1, parallelogram is given to us, and so we need to prove that both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. And so we measured the first pair of opposite sides, and we got 1 inch for the left side and 1 inch for the right side. Then we did our second pair, and we got 1 inch at the top and 1 inch on the bottom. So that was step 2 and 3. So then for step 4, we were able to state that this parallelogram and opposite sides are congruent. For number 4, same thing. Parallelogram is given to us for step 1. For step 2, we measured our first pair of opposite sides. So we got 1 inch and 1 inch. And then step 3, we did our second pair of opposite sides. We got 1 1/4 inch for the top and 1 1/4 inch for the bottom. So for step 4, we were able to state that the parallelogram is congruent. The opposite sides, both pairs, are congruent. So number 7, our last practice problem. Again, step 1, it is given to us. We need to prove that they're congruent. Step 2, we did the left and right side, first pair, and we got 1 1/4 inch for the left and 1 1/4 inch for the right. Step 3, we did the second pair. So for the top, we also got 1 1/4 inch, and for the bottom, 1 1/4 inch again. So we were able to state that both pairs of opposite sides were congruent. And what we can also see from this example is that all sides are actually equal to each other. So this were our practice problems. Now y'all are gonna make sure and hold on to this sheet, because y'all are going to have to do 2, 3, 5, 6, and 8 and 9 for homework. So make sure you put these in your math folders and bring them back to me finished tomorrow, so that way we can look over it and make sure y'all understood the lesson for today. So are there any questions? No? Okay, well then y'all really must have understood the lesson today. So again, we learned how to prove opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. And we did this by using a ruler and measuring in inches. So now you can put your worksheet away and put your vocabulary and your steps away as well, so we can get ready for our next lesson.